Twitch doesn't matter that much. When it pops
They
up
laid
and
off so
says,
many people again.
ridiculous,
recently.
isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it seems like loads of places have kicked off the year with like redundancies.
Google as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, tech industry is just a bit weird at the moment.
Yeah, I know there's always like big churn in the tech industry, and a lot of it, and I don't think doesn't get kind of thought about in a way which gives a bit of stability. But loads of jobs in the gaming sector and in tech are freelance, right? And lots of people like it that way. Lots of people like being able to move from project to project. But it's making sure that it's done in a sustainable way. You know, that the freelance contract that you have isn't just cool. We can just wipe you. We can just tell you the day you turn up and you lose everything. You know, I don't know whether even for freelance, whether unions cover those kinds of contract workers as well. Let alone just, and I would assume a union could, whether it can fight for the rights of contract workers and people like that. But it's definitely, I think, a conversation which will start to come up a little bit more, maybe. That people who are sort of more contract-based and stuff, with all of these layoffs that's happened at the end of last year and the start of this year, people will be thinking about it a lot more. You know, do I want to move across the country? My family's here. I've just lost my job. Do I want to move everybody across the country to get another job? Or do I want to, as COVID has made everybody, do I want a nice cushy contract working from home, working for a tech company? Just leave gaming and work for a tech company instead. I think there's going to be huge shifts and big turnover of knowledge and experience as well in the next year or two.
Yeah. And it's not just the tech industry, it's everywhere. The whole economy is a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. What a good way.
Someone who's trying to, someone who's trying to look for a job right now. It's a mess.
What are you trying to look for a job in, Lucy? Tech. All this coding that you're doing, mate. You're going into the turbulent tech lifestyle.
Yeah, or at least something somewhat adjacent to it. Something that's probably still within finance, and but moving more into like a business analyst kind of role.
Right.
That kind of like bridges the gap between, the tech and the business and stuff like that. But I've got 2 interviews next week.
Ooh, nice.
Get prepared for, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's hard out there.
Yeah.
I've found comfort in Reddit, where in the what is it, UK jobs subreddit, where everyone's just like telling people to keep going and keep on trucking, because it's it's bad out there for everyone. People with way more experience than me, probably 10 times smarter than me. Struggling to get jobs, so
absolutely.
Market's a mess.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we haven't had another recession yet.
We're in one.
I was going to say at least like an officially declared recession. Yes.
Don't listen to the people who don't want you to think we're in a recession. We are. We absolutely are. Because I mean, Tories are all like, oh yeah, lowest unemployment for how many years? Doesn't say that like people are in like 0-hour contracts struggling to feed their families. That doesn't matter, just as long as they're not signing on.
They changed the rules as well. Was it last year? Maybe it was the year before, where they took all 16 to 18-year-olds out of those unemployment figures as well.
Oh, really? Did they?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Some of that changed, I think, is you don't have to stay in education now until you're 18, but you have to be in some kind of education / employment. So whether it's like apprenticeships or those kinds of things. So they're like, cool, we've done this. We can just take all of those people out of the unemployment figures. Just like, so that's cut a massive chunk off and just makes it look that much better than it was. Like, we've reduced unemployment by this much because you fiddled the numbers. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah, they're a bit skewed, but for anyone of that age who, for some reason, listens to three old people talk about video games, go for the apprenticeship. You know?
always, absolutely.
Yeah, go for the apprenticeship. Don't, unless you're doing something very specialised and skilled, like being a doctor. Yeah, go to uni for that. You're gonna have to, but otherwise, go for the apprenticeship.
Yeah, and it's an interesting kind of moment in time for education, because architecture have and architectural courses have started to, or the architectural kind of bodies like the RIBA and the ARB are looking and have changed architectural education to allow people to go and do apprenticeships now. So there's a little bit more kind of, you know, in practice education versus just, you know, 4 years at uni, a bit of in practice, back to uni for another couple of years for your masters, back out and then back in again for another course for your final qualification. So they're looking
a lot
at
of debt and
no
work experience in that time as well.
Absolutely.
Like, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. A random place for us to start our episode. Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about craft beer, video games, the tech industry, unemployment, redundancy, austerity. Fuck it, we'll throw everything in. Fuck the Tories. You know, we'll hit all of the high notes right at the start of the episode. It is episode 393. I'm Ben, and I'm joined with Lucy.
Hello, Ben.
Hey. Have you got a beer this week? Should we crack some beers?
I do, yeah, I do. I had mostly, most of these like 3 cans worth, but they're all like pretty heavy. So this was the lightest one I had.
Okay.
And it is. I really like the black and white of Nothing Bound. It's just so simple.
Nice.
And striking. Yeah, this is called Connecticut, and it's their pale ale, which has Citra and Azaka hops in it, 5.8%. This is very architecturally relevant. I don't know if you can see the graph paper. And this weird looking building.
Kind of almost sort of temple pyramid like.
Yes. I think it had some flavor text. We're excited to be working with Chris Dainty for this series of cans. Okay, so it's artist. Chris is a talented artist from the Midlands. Woo! Represent.
Nice.
Renowned for his abstract and mesmerizing illustrations. Chris became a good friend of the brewery during lockdown, so it was an easy decision to collaborate with him. Nothing about the beer itself, but yeah, the art, which was the first thing that I saw. Really, it's very pretty. Yeah. So yeah, nice. Nothing Bound, whose beer I had yesterday on tap, that was called Total Force. Very nice, really, really good. 6% pale, just so much full of flavour.
I've seen a lot of Nothing Bound. I don't think I've had a beer from them yet.
Really? Oh, okay.
When did they come about? Last year, maybe? They started coming more into sort of bottle shops and things like that. Maybe a few years old, perhaps.
Yeah, I've seen them knocking about for, it's got to be more than a year. Where are they based? Maybe it's easier. Bewdley. Oh, that's why.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Right. That makes sense. Yeah, maybe that's why they're... Yeah, it's Bewdley. I would say wonderful place, but don't think it is.
Near Worcester.
Yes. It's around our neck of the woods. It's it's south that way, southwest to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were.
Worcester.
My mum's partner's mother lives in Bewdley. We went up to visit her a couple of Christmases ago. So yeah.
Yeah,
went over to the old train station in Kidderminster and did the old Santa train over there and drove past the Midland Safari Park.
It's not far from there. I think that's the only time I've ever been. That's what I associate Bewdley with. It's near Safari Park.
Yeah. and now the only other thing to associate with it is Nothing Bound Brewery as well.
Yeah. Oh, that would be I wonder if they have a tap room
Ooh. As you're local-ish, I'm local as well this evening. I'm going to drink 2 beers. Both are from Wiper and True, and both are called Kaleidoscope. But one is 0.5%, and one is the standard 4.2%. Unlike last year, where Wiper and True brought out a 0.5% lager, which was a fresh brew, it wasn't sort of aping or looking to reduce the alcohol of a brew they already did. This year they've brought out a low alcohol version of Kaleidoscope. So I thought, what better than to try them side by side and see exactly how kind of the 0.5% stacks up against the against the 4.2% beer. Again, 4.2. It's another light. It's a bit of a lighter beer. It is a pale ale. So anyone on a low/no alcohol run, I don't know where people's limits are, but 4.2 at least for us is a pretty light beer.
I saw the Kaleidoscope 0.5 on tap yesterday.
Oh, really?
And I was thinking, that would be interesting to try.
Yeah.
And then something in my head said, don't pay for that. And I think there's a good chance Ben might tell me what it's like. So,
Yes, absolutely.
My intuition paid off.
Dependent on what I say, absolutely, it might be. Okay, maybe when I do go, maybe I will have just a half or something, just to see. I mean, it's great that there's more options out there, and I can, if this is close, if I was driving or we were somewhere out for the day with the kids and I walked into a pub or something and there was this version on tap, brilliant. But we will see. We'll come back first to the Nothing Bound. Is it Connecticut? As in the state?
Yeah.
Right.
It smells delightful. Like tropical fruits. Like guava, passion fruit.
Nice.
Mango. It's very hazy. Just darker than straw coloured, I guess. Yellowish. Ooh. That's good. I wish it was a bit more carbonated, but that's entirely my fault because I only just put it in the freezer not long ago.
Right.
But other than that, I'd say that's not the fault of the beer. But if it was a bit more carbonated, this would just ratchet it up so much more. But what's there now currently is very, very, very good. Very smooth. It's really fruity. It's like, none of those aromas of tropical fruit are lost in the taste. Getting all that fruit and all that juiciness. Yeah, insanely smooth though. And it's got a decent amount of body. What was it, 5.8%?
Yeah.
Which is what surprised me about the one that I had yesterday. Like, you are expecting a bit more body for 6%, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the last couple of beers that I've had, but it's just like, when they're hovering like between that 4 to 6%, sometimes they're just not giving me enough. Sometimes I crave a little bit more. Whereas these, it has enough body, it has enough fruit, and the hops are also, doing their thing and just giving it a nice bit of heft, feeling like, oh yeah, this is a beer that I can be sated with if I just have the one. No thinness to it at all. It's got a nice resiny, piney finish. It's not very bitter. It's more sweet than it is bitter. It's a good beer, and I'm very pleased to actually have researched where they are, because it's like, maybe I should go to Butte one day. Just take a drive there. Yeah. Because then that's sort of what I kind of want to do more this year. Like, it's not practical to go to a tap room and find somewhere to sleep or something. It's like, just a train journey, or just like, just a drive.
Mm.
Because, I've got a car, it's fine. Everywhere's pretty much easy enough to get to. And just feel like, yeah, just do a little day trip.
Yeah, yeah,
And drink responsibly.
absolutely. A beer and then a little takeout to come home with,
Yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Maybe a pint and a half, depending on the strength, and then you're good. Just more for the experience of I've been to that tap room.
Yeah, very much, very
Yeah,
much. And just
yeah,
stay there that little bit longer. Bit of food as well. Just let it work
yeah,
its way out and done.
mm,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, very good, very good. Yeah,
Nice.
I would assume that you've seen Nothing Bound, so
Mhm.
are they in like your bottle shop or anything, or is it just you just don't
No,
see them?
I'm sure I've seen them in the
Hmm.
bottle shop.
Hmm.
But I've seen them a bit more probably on like socials,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Instagram and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, the name rings
Hmm.
several bells.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, because I just, whenever I see them, it's always like, yeah, I'll have a Nothing Down, and I've
Mm,
just never really thought of it that much until like, well, yesterday and today. And
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it should. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why it ever
I still
didn't
think
cross my mind. Just like, yeah, I'll always have a Nothing Down because I know it's going to be good quality. So,
yeah, yeah. I still think there is a business proposition around for
mm.
someone just in a transit to just hit up a bunch of Midland breweries
Hmm.
and just trundle back to Bristol to drop off at a couple of the bottle shops here.
Yeah,
It just seems it's so close to not have like such a better
yeah.
connection between distribution here and the breweries that are kind of that proliferate all
M5,
around
yeah.
the Midlands.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and it's just the M5 is like the easiest motorway I've ever driven on because it's quiet
absolutely.
all the time.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. And obviously, of course, the other way, load up your van the day before with a bunch of Bristol breweries, bring it up to Birmingham, and then do your rounds and drive back the next day. But
Basically, we should have been alive in Prohibition
oh, that's
times,
true. Yeah,
where
absolutely.
and just been like bootleggers,
Yes,
and that would have been so
we've
much fun.
missed our calling. I mean, but
Yeah,
by like 80, 100 years now.
yeah,
But
literally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely something we could have done. Um, Stuff that might not get bootlegged is probably 0.5% alcohol-free beer.
You never
But
know when times get bad, Ben. Maybe that'll be
wringing
all
out as
we have.
much 0.5% beer as possible. There is a little bit of flavour text with this. An uncompromising low alcohol take on our flagship pale ale, combining a trio of Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops to beautiful effect. This carefully selected blend creates a refreshing kaleidoscope of beautiful citrus and vibrant fruit flavours, balanced with gentle, clean bitterness. Low alcohol beer done properly. I will read the standard flavour text for Kaleidoscope later. I imagine it's going to be the same, as it's the same set of hops. I wonder if the brew is exactly the same, and all it's done is that it's then gone into whatever the process is for taking away the alcohol, the deionization or de-alcoholification, whatever that is called, of the beer. But we shall see. It's
Taking
very
the fun out of it.
it's very pale. It's maybe a touch yellower than it appears kind of on the screen. Good nose, a bit bitter on the nose. Oh, it's sort of saying maybe tropical fruits, or vibrant
Like,
fruits. I think it said actually, but it says maybe a
is it like
bit.
the pith of
It's a
an
bit
orange rather
pithy.
than the
It is a bit
juice?
pithy,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it's very fresh. That's good. That's actually really good.
Ooh.
Ooh, ooh.
Ooh.
I mean, it's fresh. It's not very
Always help.
full-bodied. I think as we experience with all of these lower alcohol beers, it hasn't got much heft to it, but it's a pale ale already. Don't expect it to be very big, but it's got a lovely flavour there. I think the thing I'm getting more is maybe a little bit of orange, but maybe just edging towards a little bit of kind of grapefruit in there as well. A touch of citrus, but not much. But it's like a little zesty, and that's the thing that kind of sticks around. That slightly higher zesty kind of flavour to it. Whether it's a little bit orange, maybe a little bit limey as well. But it's kind of got that little bit of a touch of earthiness in there. There's a little bit more stone fruit, maybe a little bit more grapefruit, perhaps, in its kind of wanting there to be a bit more bitterness to it, but it being very, very subdued. And it is much more that zesty, slightly pithy citrus that sticks around in this beer. And it's quite a quick flavour. But as I say, it's very refreshing and it's very, very light. That you probably don't need the flavour to last very long. Like this is a beer that you're going to drink quite quickly.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think it's understanding where these 0.5% beers live and sit within the kind of pantheon of beers. Is this something you want to kind of, because you don't have to keep pace necessarily with people, you know, if I'm going out and I'm drinking 0.5% beers, but I'm drinking alongside everyone else who is on, you know, normal beers, on wine, on any other kinds of drinks, I'm not necessarily having to keep pace with them. So actually drinking a 0.5% beer, which you would potentially drink quite quickly, I don't think really matters that much.
No.
You might spend that little bit more of an evening because the, you know, the equivalent kind of price for a lot of the 0.5% beers as they are for just well, maybe not quite 6, but 5 odd percent sort of beers perhaps. But yeah, it's an interesting place. I've not actually been out and drunk 0.5% beers with a group of people who are just drinking normally, so I don't know where that lives really.
And I guess, you know, drinking fresh from a tap probably makes, I don't know, I'd imagine it'd make a little bit of a difference. That would be interesting to try out, see if, because, you know, drinking draft beer from a canned beer is like, yes, draft is 9 times out of 10 going to be better, but is that the case for alcohol-free beer too?
I don't know.
Interesting. No, I'll if I'm ever back round at the Wolf in next month, which probably don't know how long I'm gonna have it on tap, but probably, yeah. I'll have a third.
Yeah, just a little one.
Is there anything smaller than a third? What about a six?
We have a thimble.
A thimble, yeah. Really get the nuance from a thimble worth.
Yeah.
Kaleidoscope,
They might just let you have a taster, I suppose, just to sort of see.
Oh yeah, they'll be like, we can't get rid of this. Couldn't give it away, please. Have this taster. That's a pint.
Yeah, I will drink this, and I will jump onto the standard Kaleidoscope momentarily, to give a bit of a comparison.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, like, if anyone's going to do it well, it would be, you know, Wiper and True.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't very taken. I wasn't very impressed with the lager from last year, which I think has been rebrewed this year as well. Tomorrow, I think it was called. It's got the light bulb on the front, the blue light bulb.
No, you weren't. I remember.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I very much appreciate the branding. You know, because light bulb's the same, going from the gold to the blue for the alcohol-free versions of things. Just simple.
Their branding anyway. It'll be one to try then, because it looks really good. Like, just looking at it, like, sometimes you can tell, like, I mean, that looks like a proper beer.
It does.
You know, it looks like it's got a little bit of body to it, and you know, the head hasn't just dissipated, and it looks like coloured sparkling water like mine did yesterday.
Yeah.
Which, in all fairness, it was a year old, so.
Might have had a bit of an impact, but we're not really sure. Yeah, I think as we said last week, go back to the previous episode where you drank it last January as well, to see if there's any different notes between the two. But yeah, let's drink these and move into games. And I know I think I've got the only game for this week, which I haven't spent a huge amount of time with, but on a whim just started. So I finished the 3-hour trial of God of War Ragnarok. Got through the first section and started kind of in, you know, a little bit of story, got into the next kind of main area of the game and started moving through that. It you know, gives you the Blades of Chaos kind of very quickly, so you're not just with the Leviathan axe. You can move between the two. I haven't done anything because I, you know, again, I only knew I had this short time with it. Didn't do many upgrades and those kinds of things. Cat's just going to sit at the door now until I let him out.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be a podcast if there wasn't a podcast disrupting things. Oh, I love cats. They just don't give a F. That's why they're so good.
I'm stuck in a space I can't actually get out to let him out. So yeah, I didn't jump in much to kind of upgrades and those kinds of things, but I built up quite a hefty set of experience to upgrade things. But again, with like a 3-hour demo, I'm conscious that I don't want to be sat in menus looking at things, upgrading stuff, trying to work out builds and those kinds of things. I just played, basically. I think I did maybe one upgrade because the tutorial tells you how to do it, so you have to do one upgrade. You have to do one like equipment upgrade as well. So again, the Leviathan axe can have like the pommel upgraded, the axe itself can be upgraded to give you more damage. Like, it's still very RPG-ified for a game which is essentially not quite hack and slash, but is an action, you know, it's an action game. And it
just doesn't reconcile in my head with that. It's like, you are the god of war. You should be the most powerful.
Absolutely.
And yes, you need some kind of like progression and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they went a bit overkill and too far in the RPG direction.
Yeah.
In fact, I wish there was just a toggle where, you know, people who want to do like the min-maxing and get the best build and stuff like that, best DPS and all that, let them do that. Otherwise, just let me click a button and let the game do, this is the best build for what you've so far unlocked or whatever.
I want like critical upgrade path.
Yeah, just give me that. I don't care. You know, I don't care what boots Atreus is wearing. So just give him the best boots.
This will be an interesting place for like AI. Like, I know that so PlayStation last year, towards the end of last year, I read something about them putting in a patent for variable difficulties, where the game is learning how you play and adapting difficulty kind of on the fly. And we've seen this kind of already coming into games. And it would be interesting if there is just that toggle that's just like, tailor the game to how I play. It's not learning to make it harder for me. It's actually learning to make it, again, of the difficulty that I have determined. I want it on a medium. So I don't want it to get too easy. I don't want it to get too hard. And it seems like a good place for some kind of learning algorithm to sit and actually allow that to just happen without you going, great, I've now got 5 bits of equipment. I've either got to upgrade them along this path or I've got to upgrade them along this path. How am I playing? Do I need more defense? Do I need more attack? I don't know. Where do I take this? Yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
Yeah, because games have sort of been doing something not as, you know, as clever and as in depth as what you've described, but gosh, did one of the Resident Evil games do it or something or something? But games have always, well, not always, not all of them, but they do be like, okay, they do the, oh, we see you're struggling a bit. Would you like us to drop down the difficulty?
Yeah.
As you say, if that could just be done dynamically on the fly, not when you die and start from a checkpoint or whatever, and have the game almost saying, "We pity you." Do you want it? Or conversely saying, like the Forza games do it. Like if you're just blasting everyone in a race and you're just doing too easy, you know, after a race, the game says, "Well, we think, you know, the difficulty should be a bit higher. Should we move it up there so it's a bit more of your, you know, of your skill level? And it's a bit more challenging." So those games do that. And they also
Does it
have
do it the other way?
cars. Yeah, I'm,
Like if you're
I'm not
continuously
sure
coming kind of
actually.
last, second to last,
Yeah.
and struggling, does it do it the other way, or does it just allow you to
I'm not
recognize that maybe you need to do that?
sure. I'm not sure, but it definitely, if you're breezing through it, it definitely suggests we're
Mm,
going to up the difficulty.
right.
But the other way around, not sure.
Mm.
Not sure.
It's
But yeah.
finding that balance point, isn't it? I suppose, and as we're saying, for convenience sake, finding a balance point that the game just stays on, but also gives you those kind of upgrades and elements. It doesn't, just RPG mode off, and it just you go cool.
Yeah.
The game kicks in and goes great, fine. We'll take the reins now. You want to play, and I know there's, I think God of War had 5 difficulties, maybe the bottom of which was like story mode, right? I don't think they called it story mode, but it is like I just want to play this game because I want to experience the story of the game. I want every combat encounter to be as easy as possible. I want to find all the stuff. I don't really want stats and things to worry me in terms of kind of upgrading things. There might be a bit of challenge around sort of say bosses and quick time events and those kinds of things, but there is that kind of mode. But I think what we're talking about is different in that you still want the challenge, but you don't want to think about how you're getting to the challenge or whether you're min-maxing to deal with the challenge.
Yeah. Or just like, yeah, as you say, like, because, all RPGs will be like, oh, if you swap out this weapon for this one or this armor for this armor, here are the benefits and here are the negatives. And it's like, yeah, people want to fine tune and toggle that. And it's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it would just be a fundamentally different game, but I'd just be like, I don't care. just give me whatever. Or just like as soon as you pick something up, it's like, would you like to equip this? And it's like, yes. And it doesn't even tell me what's good or bad about it. Just equip it for me, you know what I mean?
So you've just got this big blue hat on.
Yeah. I don't want to spend any time in a menu. Just do it for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also one of those where, and I think it's some of these games. So Dark Envoy, which I started and played a little bit of last year, very much in the vein of you've put on ridiculous hat number 1, so we're going to show you in ridiculous hat number 1 in every single cutscene that you come through. Like I just want a toggle that says just turn off all equipment, just keep the base character models and run through like that. I don't need to see my flaming skull kind of just as rather than a hat that I had on, sort of thing. So
I don't want to divert, but you talking about flaming skull, the characters and skins in Call of Duty are getting ever more bizarre.
right.
Like I see some weird things in Call of Duty, and I don't know what they are. I don't know where they're from. I just know that they look stupid, and they're so easy to see on the battlefield. I don't know why people buy them. Like literally, it looks like gosh, what's the Marvel
Ghost Rider
bike guy? Yeah, it looks like Ghost Rider, and it's like just this flaming skull, and it's like I can see you from like 7 miles away. Like why?
I suppose
it's getting really odd.
In a way, that's like like the ultimate challenge, isn't it? For players who are like, I win this game all the time. I'm doing really good at it. Let's put on the most ridiculous. Let's just let everybody see me across the battlefield for miles and see how well I do, kind of thing.
Perhaps,
when you get killed by the flaming skull guy who's just walking around and it pops out of the environment. When you get killed by them, you're just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's bizarre. They're getting worse, and there's like, I don't know who. Like, I can recognize Skeletor. Some of the others, I have no idea what they're modeled off or who they are. Nicki Minaj was a clear tell, very good giveaway. She's all in pink. The rest, I don't know. I can't tell whether it's Rambo or I don't know, or a rapper. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's it's that odd kind of, okay, you can see that they might have crossovers and like cameos and that sort of stuff, but then just like the Groot skin that wasn't Groot, maybe this like Ghost Rider-esque kind of skin which isn't Ghost Rider, like these kind of knockoff costume shop versions of characters where you've spent like £5 on a costume to look like Groot, but you don't, just like a poo. Just
and then it gets
it's
taken away from the game anyway. Yeah.
Definitely an interesting route to go down for skins and costumes and things.
Yeah.
But I think staying away as far away from that as possible is
At first it was funny. Now it's just concerning. It's like, what degenerates play this game? Like, who buys these things?
What you want is the skin that's just that baby from Baby Steps, the Bennett Foddy game. So you're just a giant baby walking around the battlefield.
There is literally a skin. I don't know if it's a juggler or I don't know what it is, but it's like this huge man. It's like the character model is like 3 times the size as everybody else's. I don't know if the hitbox is the same.
Right.
I don't know. It may just be the same hitbox size as everyone else, because that would just seem bizarre why you'd make yourself a bigger target. But it's just this big clown-like looking dude, and it's like, I don't know. Anyway, God of War.
Yeah, well, what an odd game Call of Duty is, but also what an odd game God of War seems to have turned into, or at least upgrade pads and equipment stuff and that kind of thing. Like, but yeah, it was enjoyable. It didn't pull me to go and spend £70 on the game. I will play it. I think I mentioned
Eventually
at some point it will come. I would think it would come to PS Plus at some point. If not, it will be on a ridiculous sale. I get it for like £30 or something like that instead. The price game should be. But yeah, I'll return to it at some point. But off the back of that, I floated around sort of the PlayStation Store a little bit to see what else was on offer through either the catalog, the PlayStation Plus catalog, or more of these game trials. And I was going to jump into Baldur's Gate 3, but I didn't realise that all of the game trials have different lengths that they allow you to play it for. So some of the games, and some of the shorter kind of indie games, they'll only give you half an hour as a trial, which might be fine for a bit of an indie game. Just play 30 minutes to see whether you kind of like it, as a demo. Baldur's Gate only gave 2 hours. I'm like, do I want to sink 2 hours into this kind of game?
That's not a lot.
Which isn't a lot. If it was 3, maybe I'd start it. But 2 hours just seemed a little bit too short. And the one that did pull me slightly was Cyberpunk, because it gives you 5 hours as a game trial. And I'm thinking, okay, 5 hours is pretty good. And actually, that game goes on sale all the time. So, I've wanted to get to Cyberpunk at some point. Is jumping in and doing this sort of 5 hours that you get as part of the trial the right point to then find it on sale at some point this year? And, maybe only put in another kind of 10, 15 hours into it. But I'm reading a lot of good things about the, I don't know what it's called, but the Idris Elba DLC pack that came out last year. Which,
Phantom of Liberty.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it seems like that and the 2.0 version of Cyberpunk is kind of the version to play now. So yeah, that one's pulled me a little bit. But what I have been playing is Teardown, which was it was a free PlayStation Plus game this month.
Oh, was it? Nice. Nice.
But I think, did it come out last month maybe elsewhere on PC or at some point last year? I feel like it came out at some point last year.
It's been on PC for a while. I think it came to consoles last.
It's the kind of the first time that I've, I suppose, kind of naturally come across it. Like, I've never seen it on Steam or anything like that, but I've known it exists. I know it's kind of been there. I've just never really looked into it. So I thought, well, fuck it. I'm not playing anything at the moment. Let's just download it and see. And it's actually really good. As a destruction kind of sim, it works really, really well. It's voxely enough that everything just like crumbles, and I'm like, yeah, that's satisfying. Driving a car into this building, just watching it crumble is really satisfying. Or getting a sledgehammer and smashing the shit out of things is really satisfying. And I think this is the thing I didn't realize the most, is it's actually a puzzle game. So you get these big maps, these big kind of open areas with buildings and those kinds of things, and it's like a heist game. So someone will come and they'll say, go to this place and, can you do a bit of demolitions for me? But whilst you're there, do you think you could just destroy all of these files? Or do you think you could steal this car for me? Do you think you could do all of these other ridiculous things as the game progresses? It gets more and more absurd. But you get to a point where you go back to a level you've just done. So you get to go into the level, it's like, destroy this thing for us. And we're like, cool, okay. And you walk around the level a bit, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I can destroy this thing, and that's done. Then the next mission, or the one after that, might be, go back to that same place. But whilst you're there, I want you to either get this or destroy this, and then have these additional objectives as well. Either chuck something in the water, destroy something else, grab something else. But the security has been upgraded in between these missions. And so the thing that you have to grab has then got a 60-second timer on it before it's game over, basically, before the authorities arrive and find your escape van. So you have to plan your route through the map to kind of pick up the main things that you have to do within like a minute. So I'm spending like 15 minutes in a map just walking around looking at stuff, either knocking walls down or putting vehicles in like strategic points, so I can get myself to be like, cool, there's an item here and then there's an item over here. So actually what I need to do is have knocked this wall down, have a car sat just underneath, so I can basically grab that item, jump out the hole I made, get in the car, drive over, run up the steps or something, go through the next hole that I've made, grab the other thing, and then hotfoot it back to my like escape vehicle. So it's turned much more into this like puzzle game, versus just a destruction kind of sort of simulator. And I'm really enjoying the puzzle element to it, because it's hard. It's not like cool, I've got 60 seconds and I can get that, and I can get that, I've got loads of time left. Some of it I just haven't been able to get like the secondary objectives at all, even though I'm planning as much as I kind of possibly can, and kind of scouting out and going round and even moving some objectives, because some of them are like, one map had a bunch of cars that you had to take, but one of them was on a truck, so actually I could drive the truck and move the car closer to like a destructive point. So as soon as I move the car, the alarm goes off, but then I'm right next to the other car, which I have to move. So they're right next to each other. It takes me 10 seconds to kind of destroy both thing. So there's lots of nuance around how you can move items closer to where you need them to be, critical paths, and how you make your way sort of through the map to be able to get to the items that either you need to grab before you escape or destroy before you escape. So it's really fun in that way, trying to plan and work out everything and then enacting it and actually trying to do that run. And the amount of times I've like quick save, do the run, I fell off the thing, reload, start again. This path through it, I'm running along a tiny little, one voxel wide, like fence, and I fall off every single time. Right, this is not the way to do this. Let's find a different way to be able to get across this this sort of space. So it just works really, really well.
Yeah, you found your version of Hitman.
Yes, very much, absolutely. Zero stakes though, right? Hitman can get really fucking tense.
Yeah.
This doesn't get tense at all. Like, yeah, I didn't do it. Fine, try again. Like, I'm not being chased by anyone. I'm not trying to survive anything. It's like, I didn't hit that 60 seconds. It's game over, done. Start again. Try something else.
No, yeah, I've been really interested in it. Everyone raved about it when it first came out, but yeah, only recently I've actually started hearing that. Oh, it's this kind of game. I thought it was more like a, kind of house flipper,
Yeah.
destruction derby kind of thingy. But it's like, oh yeah, that sounds really interesting. So
Yeah, and it's an interesting take as well that it is there's no NPCs. So there's no like security patrols or any of that kind of stuff. So again, there's no tension in that, the idea that you might get caught in the middle of what you're doing. I think it sets it up much more like, cool, plan what you're going to do. Create your run, and it's only you against yourself trying to enact what you think you can do. You might not work out what the critical path is to be able to get item 1, item 2, and item 3 and escape, but you might be able to make an absurd bunch of stuff happen before. There's some elements like you can't make too much fire, otherwise that sets off fire alarms and the authorities kind of arrive. So you can't blow too many things up before you try your own. You can blow things up on the way, because you can still get out within your sort of like your 60 seconds. So I've just I played enough to unlock the shotgun, and setting up like gas canisters to be able to be like, cool, I've got the thing, run, shoot the gas canister, explode a hole in the wall, jump through it to be able to get the next thing. That is a really satisfying kind of thing to do as you're running through.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's just like, on the wish list. I think on console is probably a good place to play it.
Yeah, and it looks great as well
for PlayStation Plus. Yeah, I mean, probably half the fun is just seeing things explode in voxely fashion. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and it's again, you get some really absurd sorts of things. So one of the optional objectives on one of the missions was to put a safe into the water, and so I got a forklift truck, and basically got the forklift truck under the safe. Was at first floor, so I drove the forklift truck into the space under where the forklift truck would be, exploded the floor, dropped the safe onto the forklift truck, and that basically destroyed the forks on the forklift truck. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, that's not the way. That's clearly not the way to do this. So it's like, it is just, at times you feel like it's like super like harebrained in its kind of what it's trying to get you to do, or at least the tools that it gives you is like, make as much chaos as possible. What could go wrong? And everything fucking goes wrong. And you're like, well, none of these things are the right way to do this, but I've had fun trying to figure out that none of these things are the right way to do this.
Trial and error. I need to play this. I was just looking at the trailer and forgot how good it looks.
Like lighting on it works really well as well. It's like Minecraft for adults. That's what it felt like, the voxel kind of aesthetic, and the tone and the ominous tone. Again, it's got that ominous tone that like Power Wash Simulator has as well. Kind of people getting you to do criminal things whilst framing it in a way like, you're helping me out, just help me do these things, please. And I don't know where that goes, or how far that takes you.
Power Wash Simulator is brilliant. It's genuinely hilarious. So man, if only games looked like this when we were kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Kids are so spoiled now.
Yeah. Bloody kids.
Don't know how good they've got it.
No. But again, it's another good game that I can just have on There's no violence to it really. It's explosions and buildings blowing up and shit like that. I might turn my children into anarchists more than fucking anything else. But
I mean, someone's got to do it.
sure, like yeah, someone will do it probably. It's better that it's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, it's a very super easy game to be able to have on in the background whilst the kids are kind of playing or doing something, without worrying too much about what's kind of on the screen and things. You know,
I want to live in this world. Yeah, that's how pretty it looks. I just want to live there.
what was the? Oh, I can't remember.
Shadows of Doubt?
No. Oh yeah, there was that one, but there was another one, maybe not last year, but the year before, which was a puzzle game, I think.
The
Oh, what was that called?
Bonfire Peaks?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty as well. Pretty voxels. People are very good at making pretty voxel games. Yeah, and that had the whole, that had really good lighting. Even on the Switch, where I played it.
Yeah. Oh wow, the Switch. Oh yeah. That's the
I
thing.
remember that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's gone. Well, it's with my nephew. So, yeah.
I suppose with the Steam Deck, it's a redundant piece of tech now.
It absolutely was. That's why I gave it away. Yeah, and he's enjoying it more than I would at this point. So
Sure.
yeah, and then there's rumor that the Switch 2 is going to come out or something this year. So see what that is. Yeah.
It's just a middle Steam Deck. It's just a middle version of the Steam Deck, isn't it? But the Nintendo branded one.
If they were smart, that's what they'd do.
Yeah.
But it's Nintendo. They're not smart. So we'll see what that actually turns out being.
It would make sense for them. Yeah, obviously they've still got the Switch kind of in the market, but to not position the Switch 2 as the upgrade, as the next, or sorry, not the upgrade, as the next console. It's not the kind of the switch between as PlayStation and Xbox do. It's not like the new generation of console. There'd be so much to be like, cool, here is like a premium version. I don't know, they were talking about like a Switch Pro kind of thing, but upgrading it for a Switch 2, the install base on the Switch is so big. I can't see Nintendo abandoning that for upgraded specs for games that are going to be exclusive to a Switch 2, but just make it that same tier as like Steam Deck have done. So the Switch 2 is then just an upgrade to that. But
just make it a more powerful. All they'd have to really do is make it powerful enough so that whatever next Pokemon they're gonna make, make that look like really good, and then everyone would buy it. So it'd be it's a Switch 2, but it's it's got it makes this Pokemon game look real pretty. Will something in 3 years look real pretty? No. And it'll still probably be very underpowered, but just do that. And
but then they could
cream in their pants.
They position it to be like, cool, you could buy this on the Switch, but it will look like the Game Boy.
Yeah.
But if you buy it on the Switch 2,
or just
this is PS4 graphics now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I don't have to do much. I mean, I think they're onto a winner. Just make it a bit more powerful, and there's no reason not to now, because I mean, their first party games look really good on the Switch. And that's what they'll be showcasing it with. That's what they'll push and push up front to be like, look how pretty this is. And then everything else will look terrible on it, but they're not going to lean into third party. They don't have to. Or they could just be like, you can only get Hollow Knight Silksong if you buy the Switch 2 on launch day.
Exclusive rights. It's only ever going to be on that console.
Yeah, and then you've got 10 million on the first day.
Absolutely. It'd be another one of those situations where Nintendo have bought exclusive rights to the game, so it can never go anywhere else. The same as like Stadia did for a bunch of stuff, or Ouya did for a bunch of stuff. Just like, yep, or Apple Arcade does. Like, no, it's locked here now. No one can ever play it again. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm sure there has been times where a game has been announced coming to all platforms, even advertised as such, and then just ends up signing a deal with somebody. So
Yeah, probably.
it's definitely happened. I don't think Team Cherry would do that. They don't need to.
No,
They
absolutely.
know
not.
that game's going to sell well, regardless.
But also, they're all just sat on their asses, not doing anything, aren't they? The game's not being
True.
made, so it's
No, it's like Star Citizen. It's never coming in. Doesn't exist. You know, doesn't exist.
even though in Star Citizen now, can't you buy some like you can buy a ship that's like like an absurd amount of money now. It's not like spend 10 quid and buy a ship.
You can also just set money alight as well. So
Might be more enjoyable.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
To bring it back round to, I've got a final point about Teardown, but I did open the other beer. I did open the other Kaleidoscope.
Yep.
And just as a kind of a comparison, Kaleidoscope versus the alcohol-free version, it's fuller. It's got a little bit more heft, a little bit more body to it. It's smoother as well. It's not quite as refreshing, so that body is bringing a smoothness to it rather than it being that kind of slightly more clean and refreshing sort of taste to it. But flavour-wise, it is a little bit different. The big version, you get much more sweetness through it. It's not that zesty, pithy flavour that you get. This is much more that little bit of grapefruit, maybe a bit more stone fruits as well, maybe a little bit sort of apricot-y instead. So you're getting a lot less of the citrus is still there. It's just the other flavours are on par with it, rather than the citrus or the sort of maybe the bit more of the orange and a bit more of the limey, zesty element kind of coming to the fore. Everything in Kaleidoscope is a little bit more balanced, I would say. So all of that flavour, it has kind of equal footing. I think that's maybe what the alcohol-free version misses. It's that little bit of heft to it, and that kind of maybe more subtle flavour. That maybe apricot or peachy kind of stone fruit. It's a little bit more subtle, so it's lost in that alcohol-free version. But Kaleidoscope's always a good beer. So dependent on what kind of day you're having, where you are, what you're up to, I think both versions would be good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by the 0.5% Kaleidoscope. So, yeah. Yeah, I think I might have... Did I see it in shops? I might have seen it in shops as well, the can. So yeah, I'll try and track it down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting as well to... I don't know whether anywhere would... whether you go into a bar and it's on tap and Kaleidoscope is on tap as well. They've got both versions. Because everyone will just go in and be like, oh, can I have a taster of that one and a taster of that one? And you just wasted a barrel on everyone coming in just having a tiny little bit of each of them because they want to do that little comparison between the two. As a final thought on Teardown, I very much enjoy putting a sledgehammer through computer screens and printers and desks and computer chairs, and it's that tiny little power fantasy of owning a bunch of very expensive things that only work occasionally and wanting to just put your head through them. This game, it just allows you to do that. It's like, yep, do you want to put a gas canister next to this computer and then put your blowtorch on it? You can do that and just watch the screen explode into lots of little pieces. It's great fun. Just as we're saying, sort of those voxels break very, very well. So watching things fall apart, watching voxel-based 3D objects fall apart is very, very satisfying. Almost as satisfying as getting that kind of run right when you watch the other things explode as you're kind of moving through the spaces and grabbing the bits you need, jumping in the vehicles and stealing them. Just the destruction in and of itself is a very satisfying element of this game, and it tries to be not realistic, but you can't just put your sledgehammer through like a metal door or a concrete wall.
Yeah,
the sledgehammer will take the face off of it,
yeah,
but it won't break through. Whereas if you drive a car through it, yeah, absolutely, that wall's gonna disappear.
Yeah.
So
there's a logic to the physics.
There is a logic to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, sledgehammer, computer screens, perfect combination.
Yeah.
Something I need more in my life, I think. Or sledgehammer, and this fucking printer is the exact combination I need in my life. Like once I've got enough money to buy a new printer, that one's absolutely going in the garden, and I'm just gonna get my baseball bat and I'm gonna smash the fucking shit out of it.
Yep. I don't blame you. Yeah. Because I had a replaced printer late last year, and the other one, it's just like, why do I have to clean these nozzles every time just for you to print, and you don't even do it that well?
Yep.
Why does the ink run out immediately? Yeah. Printer's one of those things that when they start to die, you just gotta go, because they're gonna cause like, physical pain.
Absolutely. My printer's doing a thing at the moment, which is very annoying when you're trying to print drawings, which should be on one page. But my printer will pull the first page through, but it will then pull the second page through.
Oh.
So it gets confused, and it will print the first like 4/5 on the first page, and then the final fifth on the second page. And I'm like, well, what the fucking point? I'm not going to sellotape them together, you stupid fucking machine. Like, I just put it on one piece of paper, please. Like,
why? Need to take Old Yeller behind the barn. Yeah,
oh, it's time. It's time. Yeah. I've had this printer. It's served me well. Like, it has served me well. Yeah. But I want it to die a fiery, horrible death.
Served me well, yeah.
Yeah. It must be about.
Make sure it suffers on the way.
When did I meet Kim? When did I leave uni? 14 years ago.
It's been around that long.
It's been around. It's been around about 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
it is that. Yeah. It absolutely is that. That it might. It's more like just stand and salute, and just put it on like an inflatable something in a pool, and then just burst the inflatable thing and watch it sink down into its watery grave.
Yeah. You can put a British flag over it as you smash it with a sledgehammer.
Just stand there with my keyboard tapping F continuously, just so
Oh, that's probably the best thing that's ever come out of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that Ghost?
5.
Well, no, that was Advanced Warfare, which was actually a decent campaign. I think that was the one with Kevin Spacey. Oh my god!
Wow! Oh yeah!
Yeah. But that was fun. But yeah, that was hilarious.
Like, they keep bringing celebrities in for little kind of cameos. I don't know whether they've done it in Modern Warfare 3. I don't know whether the campaign had anyone, but I'm pretty sure you've had like Jon Snow.
That
Kit
was
Harington.
The last one I remember.
He was in one of them.
Infinite Warfare, yeah, that's the last one I remember. I don't know if since going back to like Modern Warfare and stuff like that, I don't know if they have. I think was that World War 1 or 2 one? Was that the guy who's like married to Fergie or whatever? That guy who's like
Prince
in
Andrew.
every military thing. No. Let me Google his name. Josh Duhamel, is that how you spell his name? He's like in every film that would have a military guy in it.
I don't know, who's it? Spell his name.
Josh, Duhamel.
Oh, like the Timothy Oliphant lookalike.
Yes. Call of Duty. I swear it was in one of the Call of Duties, that World War something one, which I never played. Yes, Call of Duty World War II
Oh, yeah.
2017.
Yeah, so he is.
Yeah.
And it actually does look like him, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why I remember. Because I've never played it, but it's like, that looks like that guy, and it is that guy. Because he's in like every other. He's a guy who you get to play as soldier. You know, he's probably been typecast as that role his whole career, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, just to finish us off, as we're not having a quiz for this episode because Adel isn't with us today.
Oh, they're divorced.
Oh
dear.
I just had a quick look, and I've typed in Call of Duty celebrities, and there is an article from last year from Game Rant: 10 best celebrity cameos in Call of Duty.
Kevin Spacey, number one.
I go from number one, but I'm gonna give you some famous people's names.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me whether you think they're in Call of Duty or not. Okay. All right. Let's. I'm gonna have a think for 2 minutes just to see. Okay. Right.
Make up some celebrities. Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
No, because he was in Metal Gear.
He's in Call of
Did
Duty.
he ever do a voice? Wasn't it like?
He did. He was Solid Snake in Metal Gear. But
wasn't he in like one of the early ones?
In Call of Duty World at War.
World at War, yes.
But he's also in the Zombies DLC on Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Okay, wouldn't have known that one, but yeah, he was in one of the early ones. I slightly remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about Ice Cube?
Yeah, he's a voiceover. I know that in like Black Ops because yeah.
You know too many. You know too many.
Well, because I've played so much Black Ops.
Okay, fair enough. Yes. Yeah. What about David Hasselhoff?
Can't be, no. That would have just been.
He is.
And if he is,
He is.
Which
he's. I can see a screenshot of him. He's been in Call of Duty. Doesn't tell me which one. Where is it? Oh, here you go. Popping up in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's zombie map, Zombies in Spaceland.
Okay, that makes sense because that's the kind of stupid, less serious post-face mode. Okay, but yeah, okay.
Last one. Gary Oldman.
Oh, Gary Oldman's been in everything, surely. Surely he's been in Call of Duty.
He is in Call of Duty. All of them are in Call of Duty. I'm not. This game wasn't very good, but he was in. He was in Call of Duty World at War and Call of Duty Black Ops.
Was he in Black Ops?
He is Sergeant Viktor Reznov in Black Ops.
He's playing more Russians. Is that all Gary Oldman does? I bet he's played more Russians than British people in his movie history or in his acting history.
Probably.
Yeah, get the Russian guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Gary Oldman.
It's where you find Kim was watching something the other day, and I'm sure they had someone who was French, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy's like German or something like that, and they've just gone, fuck it, he's a European, it doesn't matter, just pretend he's French, it's okay. It's just and it just gets someone in to just do a voice for Call of Duty.
Air Force One was a great film, by the way. What a film that is.
The rest of the list, this is obviously whoever's written it in order. Sam Worthington, who was in Avatar and Terminator Salvation, but he was in Black Ops. Another person in Black Ops. He was Alex Mason in Black Ops.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, the main character.
Yeah. Sam. Good old Sam.
Kit Harington features another one. Yeah. Jason Statham. He's in Call of Duty. He's in the first Call of Duty game.
Okay. Right, that's That makes sense.
It's a supporting character.
Right.
So probably not one people would
big
know.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still big, but probably
A very
well-known films at that point.
yes, very much. A really odd one. Helena Bonham Carter is a playable character in that Dead of Night Black Ops 4 zombie DLC.
They must have just rolled up a dump truck one morning and just said, "Hey, you want to be a Call of Duty zombie?"
It's interesting because she's
why not?
She and a bunch of other people are in Black Ops 4 zombie DLC. Jeff Goldblum is in Black Ops 3 zombie mode. Yeah. Like, is it just they get people in for zombie? Because isn't there's one where like Danny Trejo's in a zombie mode as well. You can play as Danny Trejo, I think, in one of the games. Like, yeah, there was definitely one which was like super celebrity heavy.
Yeah, I think that's where they have the most fun. Like, once if you get this stupid cameo, just like
absolutely. Like, we could just do what we want. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But one,
and who's gonna say no to Call of Duty? It's money.
Absolutely, yes, completely. And one of them, the ninth person on this is Idris Elba, but the character doesn't look fucking anything like him.
Maybe they just use his voice and not his likeness.
Well, he is in Modern Warfare 3. But it doesn't tell me whether that's Modern Warfare 3 or the third game in the Modern Warfare franchise from 2020 or whenever that started. I don't know. I
haven't heard his voice or seen him. He's not a skin.
Oh no, it's the original. 2011 Modern Warfare 3.
Okay. Cool. That makes sense.
It's ridiculous that we now have to say the original Modern Warfare 3. Anyway.
It's something.
Good. Those people. There's if you just Google, as I have done, famous people in Call of Duty. There's so many articles, that tell you about all of these people. Another one from IGN, which is it's an awful one. Because it's one of those scrolling image ones. Kevin Spacey. That looks like David Tennant. David Tennant's in a zombie mode as well. Gary Oldman. Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica. And The Mandalorian.
Really?
Yeah, she's in Black Ops 3. Anyone else? There's Sam again. George Romero plays himself in one of the zombie modes in Black Ops. Ed Harris. This is Ed Harris and Michael Keaton, both voiced the same character in Call of Duty Black Ops and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So one of them did Black Ops and one of them did Black Ops 2.
Similar.
But they do look similar-ish, yeah. Kind of slightly balding, older, white bloke, sure. They can get away with that. Ray Liotta was in a zombie mode for Black Ops 2.
He's been in a few video games, hasn't he?
He has. John Malkovich was in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare zombie mode as well. Like, what the fuck?
That doesn't surprise me, to be honest. That's a John Malkovich kind of thing to do.
That's very true. Just appears in the most random of places, doesn't he? There we go. Some ridiculous Call of Duty celebrities that have appeared throughout the years as well. It wasn't a quiz, but it's a good way to finish the episode. I suppose
it's a good standing quiz for one that will resume next time we're all here.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So, any final thoughts on your beer, Lucy?
No, it's just finishing off the rest. It's only because I just want to knock out in bed immediately after this. But it could have lasted like a good, extra half an hour or so. It's just been so much flavour that you don't feel compelled to continuously go back and get more. It's filling. It's satiating. It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll start shouting up more about Nothing Bound because it's just one of those that are just like sort of like how Polly's is, where it's just like I'll always pick up a Polly's. I'll always have Polly's because I know it's good. So very good, very good.
They're kind of
Connecticut.
They're there, and you know that it's solid, so you can kind of just pick it up at any time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. For me, the low alcohol version of Kaleidoscope is not bad at all. It's a slightly different flavor profile to Kaleidoscope. It's a little lighter in the level of flavor and actually what's coming through. It's not the same full experience that I get with Kaleidoscope, but it's a very close amalgam of it. So a few of those slightly more subtle flavors, which do make up a big portion of the 4.2% version, are very much lost in the alcohol-free version. But it doesn't necessarily detract from the beer. It's just anyone who is familiar enough with Kaleidoscope, who is expecting this and knows exactly how it tastes, will find that it's a different beer. Anyone who drinks beers from Wiper and True will go into this and think, what is the difference? I'm not really sure. What can't I quite get? There's something, maybe, as the thing I experience, there's definitely something missing when I'm drinking this, but I can't quite work that out. And then having the Kaleidoscope, seeing where those kinds of differences are, is the only way to actually tell that. From memory, I wouldn't have been able to say, oh yeah, it's the sort of the slightly more stone fruit notes that aren't pushing through quite as equally as everything else. But it's a good beer. It's decent, and I think maybe is edged up towards one of the or is one of the better, because in and of itself it's a reasonable drink. Even if it's trying to ape Kaleidoscope and trying to be the same kind of beer, just the lower percentage version, in and of itself it's still a good beer, and it's still a nice flavour, and it's closer to beer than 90% of the ones that I've drank so far, alcohol-free versions of the stuff. So absolutely one that if I see it on tap and I'm driving or something like that, it would be a the choice to make over almost anything else that's 0 or 0.5%.
Nice.
Absolutely.
So thought experiment.
Yes, yeah. Well, when I saw them both on the shelf, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I should pick up the original, alcoholic version to see what that is like.
Because apart from maybe needing the toilet a bit more, it's no more alcohol, so it's like very, very inexpensive in terms of the liver decision and thought experiment. So yes,
very much. Good. So, friends, listeners, viewers, if you want to get hold of us and tell us what you've been drinking, whether it's lower alcohol or 0.5% alcohol beers, you can do that at Tanked Upcast on the socials. I'm at Nova_47, and Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9.
And if you want to see the beers that we've drank this evening, you can go to our Out of Lives YouTube page to watch and look at the beers that we drink each and every week, or go to outoflives.net as well, where the video version also goes up under the podcast post. If you're listening to the audio version, then rate and review us on your podcast service of choice, because it's always helpful in spreading the word and getting us out to more people. I think that's all of the things and the places. They're the beers. They're the very limited amount of games that we've also played.
One day this podcast is just going to be 0 games, and you'll have to deal with it, listener.
Absolutely. We'll just sit here and be like, so, games are alright, aren't they? You're not played any, but they're okay.
Yeah.
Think about all those babies playing all those games. We're not doing that.
No. Games are notoriously for children.
And with that, we've been Tanked Up. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.
www.outoflives.net.